One guy had a little piece of shrapnel. It just went here in the corner, through the eye, through the bridge of his nose, and out the other eye. That's all he had. And of course, they didn't have his eyesight. But there was a lot of one-eyes guys, or some like me, with damaged eyesight. I was there about 2 months. They did a lot of therapy. I had a hole in my hand that wouldn't heal up. So I didn't bother me as long as it was open. I'm going to stay in this hospital. But then they had me soak it every day. Every day I had to do that for so much time. And each time I do that, the hole would get smaller, which you're supposed to do, you know. Like, geez, don't get closed up too quick. I don't want to go already. But then that took care of that. But my eyes, that took a long time. My vision was a little distorted. And I thought, well, maybe they'll ZI me. Send me home, but that didn't happen either. So I wasn't sorry. I wouldn't have felt right going home, I don't think. They had a deal there. I forgot to mention that. If you were in a hospital X amount of days, they gave you a convalescent furlough for 5 days. So I got that, and I had no way of getting my hold of my aunt or nothing, but she said, anytime you come here, you're more than welcome here. So after a few days, I got to Scotland, and my aunt was just great. You know, she had been over here too once in the States here, and they were rationed bad. And I know darn well they cheated, and they gave me part of theirs. I could get rations for 5 days, but you could put that in a little bitty bag, what you got. But I knew that they shared some of theirs with me too. And then my aunt, she'd take me around all my relatives. You know, of course they had blackout there at night, and we'd stumble around in the dark. But I saw a lot of cousins, but like I said, all my other cousins were old enough. They were in the service, and the girls were in the service too. You know what's the funny thing? Do you think Scots drink? They don't drink. I don't know, they're tight or what, but I'm not a drinker either, but I thought, God, this should be a kind of a celebration. And I asked my uncle, I said, is there a way I could get a bottle like Scotch? I hate Scotch, but I thought, being in Scotland, no, I don't think you'll have any luck with that, you know. So I asked somebody else, and he said, I'll get you one. Well, they had to get a way to get it, but they got it. I don't think anybody even drank the darn thing, you know. Well, I was there about, total, I'd say maybe 4 months. And then, of course, they got limited service with one eye. And then they sent me back. I was in, where did I get sent to? I can't quite remember. Then they sent me to Lyon. That's where I got that book there. They sent me there. And it was a nice place to be. It was a big city, maybe a couple thousand GIs there, that's all. Well, what we did there, there was a medical-based depot company there. These are guys that are rear echelon. And the French are going to take it over. So we were there to kind of make the swap, you know, of personnel and all the supplies, which was a lot. And that's the only reason that we were there until that was all done. And shortly after that was finished, then we had nothing to do. But it was a nice place. Geez, it was nice. We stayed in the chateau there. God, I was a ranking NCO. They gave me the motor pool sergeant. 2 vehicles we had. Talk a big job, you know. And then I got to drive one all the time, the Jeep. And Lyon itself was very pretty. It was a shame they blew all the bridges, you know, but it was a really pretty place. I don't think I did anything. I mean, you're glad, of course, you're very glad. And I don't think we did anything, really. You're glad it's over, and you're glad you're going to be going home. In fact, we had a lot of PWs later on. I left Lyon, and I was sent down to Marseille. And they had a lot of PWs down there. And we were supposed to watch them, you know. We get a detail, maybe 100 guys. It'd be 2 of us. You got a sidearm, that's all you got. They could run you over. They didn't want to leave. Where are they going to go? Nothing to eat. They had nothing, you know. They really had, I didn't feel sorry for them, but they, right. Well, you gave them K rations, but we'd go through them before we gave it to them. We take the cigarettes off. They get mad. Oh, Jesus. But anyway, this one guy, he was a German sergeant, never spoke English, I never heard him. And if we had something for him to do, I would go to him. I'd tell him, this is what you have to do today. And he understood what I said, but he never answered me. And we got, the point system comes out, he says to me, how many points you got? Geez, all this time I've been talking half German and half nothing, didn't he? Want to know how many points I had. Yeah, I had enough to get out, so we were scheduled to leave Marseille, and the ship we were on they had liberated from the Italians, and the Coast Guard run it, which I never knew. And it didn't take as many as the Queen Mary did, but it was a small ship, but I didn't care what it was. You're getting on to go home. And I met a guy there who got on the boat from Appleton. I never met anybody from Appleton before I met him. But sick, holy man, I was sick. You're down in one hole, and the bunks were 10 high. The higher you got, the hotter it got, because you were by the steam pipes, you know. And of course, I have to have the top. That's what I'm assigned. You take your helmet, you strap it to the side of the bunk, and if you do get sick, that's what you use as a bucket of your helmet. Well, some guys weren't too good about hitting it. They'd miss it, you know, like rain. Oh, and that went on day after day. And finally I think I feel a little better. I'll get in the chow line. And that's all you gotta do is get near that food, and that's the end of it. You're all done. So I didn't eat, I don't think, the whole trip. I looked for an apple maybe, and it went way out of their way, but it didn't fit in. Everybody on there was sick. All them guys were sicker than a dog. You know, and then it wasn't too appetizing, you know. They have the latrines there, and it was rough. We come home, you know, in December, and the water in the sinks, the urinals, and everything, just from one side to the other side. Well, you go in a latrine, and you better have hip boots on, because you'll be up to your knees once, and then it'll be there, you know. But that, besides being sick, came into New York. Saw the Statue of Liberty, boy, it really looked great. And it was cold, but I didn't care how cold it was. I got sent to Sheridan, and that's where but I remember getting off in New York docks, and they had ladies there, Red Cross, I guess, I don't know. They wanted to know what you wanted to drink, and I said, have you got any milk? I hadn't drank milk in months. Ice cold milk, geez, I tasted, I remember that. But then they shipped us out of there to where you were going, and I got to Sheridan, and they processed you all night. So in the morning, I'm out. I got that ruptured duct. And the guy that I enlisted with, I hadn't seen him but more than twice in those 3 years. There he is, standing there. And so I said, we went together, I'll wait for you. He wasn't out yet. They processed him that day, and then the next day he and I went home on the train. So we got all suited up, as good as you could be, you know. And went to the place where you press your uniform. And geez, I left my money in my uniform in a pocket. The guy was good enough to give it back to me. Anyway, we get ready to go out of Chicago, and each got a duffel bag. He said, I'll bring the bags, you go grab us a seat. So I did that. Back on the train, a civilian comes through there. All the drinks, he says, are on me in the bar car, all you GIs, every one of you. I said, boy, that's a lot of guys. And we sat in that bar car till I got to Nina. I didn't know if I was a Nina or the hell I was, but anyway, this guy said he was going to get married when we got home, at least he thought he was. And he said, I want to get off, you know, in Appleton. So, well, me too, you know, my folks, well, they aren't waiting, but anyway, I thought they said Appleton, we threw the bags off. Got off, it's not Appleton at all, it's a Nina. So, well, we wasted that, we might as well go across the street to the tavern over there. So, you know, and then my dad don't drink, and he don't believe in drinking. You know? So I didn't call him, I called my mom. Yeah, after 3.5 years, you know, it really feels good. I met my wife at that time, and we weren't married, but her dad was a railroader. And I had that mill, I couldn't work there anymore. And so he offered, there was a job opening up, so I got the job.